Hello, my name is Levi Davis. I've chose the topic of intergenerational communication for this project. We're kind of focusing on how the generations through time have communicated and what we can learn from these things. So I'm going to focus on an article that I found on Polk State's database, actually the business database, and it's called Managing Our Future, the Generation X Factor. So this article actually focused on baby boomers, which was like 1946 to 1964, those the post-World War II times. And then the generation that followed them, the Generation X, which is 1961 to 1981 roughly. They were the ones that were affected by the baby boomers. And now we've seen these people take on leadership roles. And now these people are reaching retirement ages or early retirement ages. So we can learn from their effective ways of communicating and their ineffective ways. So when we're looking at the baby boomers, they were more shaped by the quality of life and loyalty and not being very materialistic people, while Gen X was more shaped by competition and technology advancing, and they were really shaped by technology going through the ages. And now we see it now with millennials and zennials, everything's technological. So now working from home is practically something that we don't think about anymore. When baby boomers, they were always going to work and they were very loyal to their workplace. When we look at Gen X, we see that they were more switching up jobs and not staying with the same person. They were actually averaging 6 to 7 jobs within their lifetime, while baby boomers stayed consistent with their own. So another thing that was going on with them that was ineffective was baby boomers were very not accepting of the Generation X at first. The baby boomers were more self-absorbed, talking about focusing on their age and focusing on their retirement and not really helping out these Xers coming up. They didn't adjust well with all of the younger people knowing how to work technology and advancing their career just because they knew how technology worked. The boomers kind of felt left behind and burnt because of that, and it took them a while to kind of catch up for that because these Gen X were around computers all the time. Like I was talking about, the boomers they look at that job hopping that the Gen X did as disloyal, and Xers think it's more of a flexibility. And now we see that millennials and the zennials now are working from home, especially in times like this with the coronavirus and everything. So Xers are more focused on that work-life balance, having that leisure time and work separately. This can cause the baby boomers, they were thinking that the Xers were lazy and arrogant, and they get that stigma about them. But on the positive side, boomers learned to use the Generation X creativity and their technological skills to advance them, so their leadership can support them and use that creativity and cultivate that and use the computer skills and technological skills that these new young people had. They supported the new independence. So Generation X was more independent. They weren't working together. They were, let's say, if you're looking at sports, baseball, football, soccer, were all team things. These people were thinking more of tennis and golf and things that were more individualized. And that's what they've noticed with Generation X compared to the baby boomers. So Xers were thinking that they needed more feedback from the boomers, which they weren't getting at first. But then when they noticed that that's what Generation X was wanting, was feedback and fast, reliable management, that's what they needed to progress their careers. And so the boomers started giving them guidance and keeping the Xers in the know instead of leaving them on the outside thinking, oh, well, we're the leaders, we can let them go and do their own thing. And the big thing with Generation X was they were the start of the main diversity, everything. I mean, when you're talking sexuality, race, they were the start of how diverse and cultural we are nowadays. So this has been a project about intergenerational communication. And I think if we look back at these older generations like the boomers and the Gen X, and we compare it to millennials and zennials, we could probably learn some good, effective ways of communicating as leaders. Thank you.